Mel. Okay, so can we start? So Marilu, can you
Mm.
introduce yourself? And
Okay.
then maybe perhaps kung saan ka connected ngayon or professional background mo, and then ano yung undergraduate degree mo, and then
Mm.
ano tong why did you choose this research topic?
Opo. I'm Mary Lupitlo. You can also call me po Louie. My nickname is Louie. For 20 years, nag-work po ako for, not unfortunate, but it's a good experience. Although, as a industry po, as a marketer, market research. But my undergrad po kasi is a sociology, BS Sociology. So I really want to pursue. Sabi ko, I'm not getting any younger. I really will have to shift and really pursue this full time. Whereas before, I always volunteer sa pahinungod, sa even here sa Cartwheels, and then other IP, usually IP or women-oriented organizations. So nasa heart ko po talaga siya. So when I saw yung MDC, sobrang na-happy ako. Kasi parang this is for me, I know this is fit for me, this is what I really want to do na hanggang sa tumanda ako, hanggang sa actually walang retirement naman sa sa development work. So this is really my passion. I really want to be upskilled. Although nung nagpunta rin din po ako sa mga organizations, they say na sa comms ka naman din. So it's like just you're selling an ideology to people this time around, not a product or a service. So the skill sets you have, the research, profiling, demographics, and then how you package your advocacies. So it's all the same. But this time around, I want to focus on SDGs, sustainable goals, and really help yung local grassroots natin, mga NGOs natin. Currently, I'm actively volunteering for Cartwheels Foundation and also for School the World through Cartwheels Foundation din po kasi. And then from time to time sa ADRA din po kasi Adventist din ako. So nag-involve din po ako doon voluntarily, and then of course our pahinungod. And then currently, although that's for my volunteer, kasi parang advocacy ko po talaga yun. Pero professionally, yung work ko right now, I'm a digital marketer for an Australian company. So, yun po. Gusto ko talagang mag full-time this time around. And I know through this, as in, I will be fully equipped and ready to really pursue yung sa DevCom po. And maybe, baka maging project manager na, ganyan, mag-level up pa tayo. So, mas malaki yung span po. And then yung objective ko, may heart po talaga ako dito. I'm really a sociologist. Kahit sabihin pa for almost 2 decades, nasa industry ako, ang heart ko po talaga andi dito sa advocacy work eh. So I'll be fully shifting, not just this time around para pasundot-sundot na volunteer lang po, mga activities. So yun po yung background ko. And today, I'm going to present to you my proposal for my graduate thesis entitled Empowering Indigenous Futures, an Impact Assessment of Cartwheel's Young Indigenous People Leaders Program. So in a nutshell po, this study will focus on how culturally responsive education can transform indigenous youth into empowered leaders in their communities. So yung specifically for this program, the YIP Leaders Program, it began way back 1999 in Miyarayon, Bukidnon in Mindanao. What started as an early childhood education, which they also actually have until now. And all those scholarships like meron po silang adult development program. It expanded into tertiary support and leadership training for the teenagers. And then it culminated in the establishment of the Pamulaan Center for Indigenous Peoples Education since 2006. So this particular program, the YIP Leaders Program, offers a unique blend of academic, cultural, and leadership development. So it's an ideal case for impact assessment po. So This specific study intends to answer 4 key questions, like how has the YIP Leaders Program impacted the educational attainment, the leadership capacity, and community engagement of its participants or its alumni? And also, what are the lived experiences of the scholars during and after their participation in the program? And what are the challenges that they encountered for the program implementers, and how were they addressed? Lastly, what can be my recommendation to improve the effectiveness and sustainability of the program? Because Cartwheels is already in their 26th year, so this one could be very helpful for them to assess what had been done before, and then if there's a need, most likely there's always a room for improvement. So hopefully from this study, I could help them figure it out and help with the planning and continuing, and really their actual goal is to really transfer it to the community this time around. So magiging independent na po yung community how to go about dun sa YIP Leaders Program. So to address these questions, I've set 4 objectives: evaluate the program's impact, determine the factors that create the program's success and challenges, measure the extent of the parental and the community participation and support, and draw policy recommendations to strengthen the program. I'm hoping that the research will be really valuable for various key groups. For example, for Cartwheel Foundation, it will provide evidence-based insights to enhance the program. And then for policymakers and LGUs, to identify areas to improve teacher training, infrastructure, and community engagement. And then for the IP communities and parents, I'm hoping that this will open their mind further to be really involved in their children's education. So their children's education can be improved, and also specifically the socio-cognitive development of their children. And lastly, and also academically, I'm hoping that this would add to the literature on the ethnocentric pedagogy and inclusive youth development. Lastly, overall, so I'm hoping that as part of my personal advocacy, it will champion inclusive, accessible, and quality education for the children across all socioeconomic classes. Hopefully, it will promote collaborative, well-resourced YIP initiatives for sustainable impact. So for my scope and limitation, of course, I'll be focusing my impact evaluation on Cartwheels Foundation's Young Indigenous People YIP program in Mia Rayon, Bukidnon. It will examine the program's influence on the youth's children's participation and development, the parental involvement, the community engagement, and I will be focusing on specific stakeholders like the children that was enrolled in the program, the parents, the teachers, the program implementers, and I will also be utilizing a mixed method approach through surveys, observations, and interviews. This specific study will focus solely on Cartwheels YIP program in Mia Rayon. It will not explore broader socioeconomic variables like income or health, and the limited duration may not fully capture long-term impacts po. So for review of related literature, when I look into the globally successful indigenous youth programs from Year Up in the US to Entra 21 in Latin America, they actually share common traits. For example, they integrate technical and soft skills. They offer real-world exposure through internships. And then they also emphasize dignity and cultural identity and employability. I found that these lessons informed my analysis of the initial analysis of the YIP design and potential scalability. The cross-cutting lessons I have seen from these programs includes integrated programs that combine technical, soft skills, and real-world training, for example, through internships, and then it actually produce strong employment outcomes for the IPs. And then the structured work exposure that they offered, whether through corporate placements or outdoor challenges, had built competence and confidence for the IPs. And then also there's adaptability to local contexts that enhance the scalability and sustainability from the remote outdoor education to urban upskilling. And then another lesson is that employer engagement in curriculum design and placement significantly improves job placement and satisfaction. So overall, yung blending skills development, hands-on experience, equity measures, and strong employer partnerships, it created pathways for meaningful long-term and careers and community impact. The common themes and best practices I've seen from the existing YIP programs from other countries includes effective indigenous youth programs, share several common themes, like they usually engage across multiple levels. So it could be youth, family, and the community to create a holistic support system, and then based their parental involvement is emphasized to caregiver training in child development. So ever since the children were like super young, the communication, their actual development, and the supportive parenting had been very helpful for the child's development or the youth's development. So also there's safe, culturally attuned environments that reflect local norms that foster trust and participation. And another theme is that mentorship and peer support often lead relatable community role models that strengthen the youth confidence and long-term success. Their programs also focus on life skills and future readiness, equipping the teens or the youth with social-emotional abilities, vocational skills, and critical thinking alongside academic learning, ensuring that they are really prepared for both personal growth and career opportunities. So I have also seen notable outcomes from the programs, which includes higher school retention and greater post-secondary participation, as in the Mexico Roma EEM program. And then there are initiatives like ELA's ADAPT that resulted in reduced early pregnancy and child marriage rates. Also, there are programs such as Room to Grow and Compass that improve the mental health of the teenagers, the teens, or the youth, and then it helped with the self-esteem of the participants. And then there are programs like Clontarf, BRAC, and WISAC. It had helped with enhancing of the community accountability and fostering shared responsibility for the youth. So locally driven impacts are long-term. So all in all, I have seen that parental empowerment is central, with training for caregivers in child development, communication, and supportive parenting. There's safe, culturally attuned environments, respect the local norms that foster the community trust and participation, and mentorship and peer support, especially from relatable community role models, help with the success of the program. And all in all, the children or the teens are equipped for future challenges and opportunities. So Also, based on the programs, the key takeaways that I have seen highlight that holistic approaches integrating education, culture, ICT, environment, and governance are essential for successful IP programs. So the active community participation involves the youth, the leaders or the elders, educators, and the institutions in co-creating content and strategies that actually strengthen relevance and ownership of the program. So the indigenous youth are actually recognized as change agents in their community, serving as active stewards of knowledge and emerging leaders rather than just mere passive beneficiaries. So these models also demonstrate that there's strong replication potential when adapted to local contexts. They can actually be scaled effectively across IPs in the Philippines, locally po. When I also looked or tried to search for existing studies or programs in the Philippines, there are actually various IP focused na programs like Pamulaan, Schools of Living Traditions, and the ILEAD project, which showed culturally grounded education can actually lead to long-term impact. They also affirm that IPs are not passive recipients. They are actually stewards of knowledge and leaders in the making. So, typically, I have seen that the parental and community participation in foundational, which is foundational to youth success, fosters discipline, confidence, and mental health. These programs that had been implemented combined structured mentorship and emotional support and community ownership, especially for programs such as SIGA and 4-H clubs, which has a positive long-term impact. So the arts, agriculture, and parenting-based models offer models that are scalable and adaptable for youth development in both rural and urban contexts. So to sustain and expand these benefits, I deem that the local governments and the education sector should institutionalize family engagement and strengthen community-based platforms for the youth participation. All of these approaches ensure that development efforts are culturally relevant and widely accessible and capable of addressing diverse needs of young people in various settings. So I have seen that these programs affirm that youth can thrive best within ecosystems of care. So there's family support, mentor support, the community itself support the program. So at the end of the day, the teens will not just survive, but flourish in their environments. So for the method of my study, I will be using mixed methods design, combining surveys, FGD, KII, and document review. My respondents will include YIP alumni, parents, educators, and community leaders in MIA Rayon. I will also apply theory of change and Alnur Ibrahim's model for measuring social change to ensure that the study will remain systematic and grounded in development theory. I think that these both of these frameworks will help me map out inputs to long-term outcomes and assess causal links between the program actions and the observed social impact. For this specific framework, which outlines how resources such as funding, staff, materials, teacher training, and parent engagement can lead to activities like training the teachers and conducting sessions. These usually produce outputs that includes the number of trained teachers and sessions held, which result in outcomes like increased school readiness and greater parental engagement and community support. ultimately, these outcomes create long-term impacts such as improved cognitive and socio-emotional development and enhanced lifelong learning. So this model shows a clear pathway where we should be investing in resources and capacity building, particularly teacher training and parent engagement. At the end of the day, hopefully it will drive improved school readiness and stronger family involvement, and in turn foster lasting benefit for the children's cognitive, socio-emotional, and lifelong learning development. For my conceptual framework, it will examine YIP's development across 8 domains, including education, leadership, cultural identity, and employment readiness. For parental engagement po, I will assess the involvement at home and in school, advocacy efforts, and socioeconomic influences. And then for the community leader involvement, I will evaluate their roles, the community leaders' roles, and the types of engagement, the perceived barriers, and then the attitudes towards youth development programs. And then I will also assess program effectiveness by tracking the changes aligned with the YIP development dimensions. And then hopefully it will enable attribution of the outcomes directly to the intervention. So all in all, these variables provide a comprehensive understanding of how the individual, the family, the IP community factors interact to influence the growth of the alumni and the program's overall impact. So for this model I created for my research, the framework links parental engagement and community leader involvement as enabling factors for the YIP program. The parental engagement includes home and school involvement, communication, socioeconomic factors, and advocacy, while for the community leader involvement, I will look into their support for the program, the resource mobilization if needed, the awareness raising about the program, the quality engagement, the collaboration between the parents and also the implementers, and specifically with Cartwheels, and then the perceived impact of the program based on their perspective and the leadership attitudes. All of these factors actually drive YIP development across education, skills, economic empowerment, civic engagement, leadership, health, cultural identity, and social inclusion. So in turn, YIP development influences program effectiveness, which I can measure through educational and leadership outcomes, cultural awareness, community impact, employment readiness, well-being, program quality, sustainability, and scalability. So for each domain, I will measure through indicators like GPA, civic participation, mental health access, and indigenous language use. For quantitative tools, it will be validated for reliability. And then while for the qualitative insights, I will use NVivo for the thematic analysis. So I'm targeting at least a minimum of 50 respondents. I will be using SPSS for t-test and ANOVA. And then for the qualitative, I will analyze the data using NVivo for thematic trends. So all of this will be implemented to ensure validity through triangulation, so quali-quanti, across different methods and respondent groups. So specifically for SPSS. So descriptive statistics, meaning frequency means and standard deviations, and inferential test, which is like I'll be using ANOVA chi-square. The reliability will be assessed via Cronbach's alpha, so that's my idea po. And for the qualitative data, thematic coding using NVivo with participant-centered interpretation. So I will integrate the quantitative rigor. I will be integrating quantitative rigor and qualitative depth for comprehensive, reliable, and contextually grounded findings. So, of course, I will comply with the ethical standards. Of course, there's informed consent, voluntary participation, and of course, anonymity. Although the limitation will include recall bias and then short study duration and graphic specificity. So I included here the research instruments for your perusal. So there. So in closing, the Cartwheel YIP program MNE study that I'm proposing po will assess if the culturally rooted community-supported youth program can actually transform lives. So thank you for your time and for listening po. I now welcome your questions and
Thank
clarification.
Thank you, Louie. Actually, excited na po ako dito sa sa
Study.
study ni Louie, no? So, before I give my comments and suggestions, although yung ibang mga questions ko ay nasagot mo na, may I request Doc Benny Agapito and Assistant Professor Margaret Suarez for their comments and feedback.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ma'am Myra, Doc Myra, for inviting me to be one of the panel members of Miss Pitlo. Now, I just have a very few questions, clarifications, and some recommendations about your study. Now, honestly speaking, yeah, it's a very interesting research. Because this is very timely of assessing a particular program for sustainability purposes. Now, bago ko ibigay yung aking question, suggestion, recommendation, I'd like to commend first dun sa study mo, Miss Pitlo, na you have that initiative to systematically assess both yung measurable outcomes tsaka yung lived experiences ng mga respondents mo. Now, if we're going to look at it, now your research basically aims to capture not only the program successes, but you have that intention also to identify some challenges and areas of improvement of the program. So I think that's very good kasi you will contribute knowledge to the effectiveness of the program in years to come. Then yung mga insights mo from this type of a study will definitely contribute dun sa refinement tsaka sustainability ng YIP initiative. Hindi lang yon, siguro magko-contribute ka rin or mag-inform ka dun sa mga design or initiatives or study in the future na magkakaroon ng similar programs nationwide. Now, for my comments, medyo nag-worry lang ako ng konti, Miss Pitlo, kasi I find your study very broad in a sense na marami siyang ganap na I don't know if you can still fuse it into one study kasi nung tinitingnan ko while you're presenting, parang I can generate series of study out of your study, lalo na dun sa scope na isa-isahin ko na. Siguro yung sagot mo na lang later para hindi ako maputol, para tuloy-tuloy lang yung comments ko. Naunahin ko muna, Miss Pitlo, yung scope and focus. No, meron lang akong parang some innovations kung gaano kalawak talaga yung coverage, lalo na ng mga beneficiary mo. Kaya nag-pop up to sa head ko na para mga questions na like why is the study limited only to to Bukidnon when the fact that yung Cartwheel Foundations program span over 45 partner communities, then how might that particular limitation affect yung generalization mo dun sa findings? Now, another yung sa time frame mo ng impact. How will you account for differences between more recent YIP graduates saka yung mga graduate na na-complete na many many years ago. So hindi ko nakita yan dun sa study mo kung paano mo gagawin yung clustering nun. Kasi definitely yung newly graduate saka yung old graduate, definitely pwede silang magkaroon ng different impact. Tsaka medyo nag-worry din ako dun sa definition mo ng impact. Kasi nabanggit mo yung effectiveness,
Mm-mm.
nakikita ko parang hindi siya synonymous to impact. Kasi pag sinabi nating impact, that's too broad. Depende yun kasi may subjectivity kasi yung impact eh. It depends upon the way you receive it. Kunyari ako yung receiver mo, impact could mean a lot to me. So depende yun sa mga variables na ma-identify mo dun sa study mo. Kaya medyo nag-pop up sa head ko yung question na how are you going to operationalize impact in this context? Is it strictly measurable outcomes or perceived ba siya or subjective changes in a particular participants kagaya nung uh, sample na kunyari ako. So parang magkakaroon siya ng different cluster meaning sa akin. So depende dun sa impact nung program dun sa status ko as a person. Now, another yung sa methodology, ubusin ko na Miss Pitlo para lang. Anyway, naka-record naman so you can go back to all my comments. Now, dun sa methodology naman, medyo nag-worry lang ako dun sa mixed method mo. Kasi can stand alone kasi yung qualitative mo sa quantitative. Lalo na nabanggit mo na marami siyang approaches, techniques na gusto mong i-consider. Unahin natin dun sa qualitative mo. So, nabanggit mo, nagagamit ka ng thematic. That one alone is a very broad topic na. Kasi magko-coding ka kasi sa thematic eh. Which is, actually, I appreciate kasi ako mismo, into thematic analysis ako. Most of my studies, thematic analysis. Now, dun sa binigay mong table, kasi may nakita akong table eh, hindi ko siya makonect kung yung mga different areas na nabanggit mo doon, like if I'm not mistaken, parang nagbanggit ka about yun balikan ko nga kasi ni-note ko din siya eh. Yung mga areas dun sa table na alala mo na parang the way I remember merong personal something. Balikan mo nga, Miss Pitlo. Hindi ko lang ma-reconcile kung bakit nagkaroon ka ng area, the fact na magte-thematic analysis ka pa lang. Kasi ang thematic analysis should totally empty dapat. Kasi ikaw mismo ang mag-identify yung mga possible codes. Kasi di ba sa thematic analysis, i-consider mo yung narrative ng mga na-interview mo. From that narrative, excerpt from the direct interview mo, i-identify mo dun yung mga similarities kasi kukunin mo lahat ng similarities nung lahat ng narratives nila. Tapos out of those similarities, i-code mo siya. Then out of that code, doon ka na magka-cluster. Now, I'm just wondering kung bakit itong rubrics na to nag-umappear. The fact na magtithematic ka pa lang. So, di ba meron ka nang in-identify na uh, YIP development, ibaba mo pa.
Yung mga
Tapos
education skills,
itong,
cultural
yeah,
identity,
oo,
communication.
yeah, na-identify mo na sa paano na yung thematic mo? Di ba, doon ka lang mag-generate kasi ng different themes out of the different narratives na binigay sa ng respondents mo. Kasi yung coding kasi noon eh, doon ka magka-cluster nung mga similar concepts na na-deliver nung mga respondents mo. So hindi ko lang alam kung saan mo to gagamitin doon sa thematic part. Okay, mamaya mo na lang sagutin para hindi ako
Sige
mawala
po.
dun sa aking tanong. Okay? Now, nag-worry din ako dun sa mixed methods balancing mo. Now, parang ang tanong ko dun, how will you ensure that the qualitative and quantitative components are integrated rather than functioning as two parallel studies? Kasi po pwede kasing mahati yung magiging results mo nun eh. Lalo na pag hindi mo nakitaan siya ng integration. Kasi this is one study, dapat nagkukonek yung result ng qualitative mo dun sa quantitative. Parang dun yata papasok yung triangulation na tinatawag. Kasi one study ka lang. Not unless if you want to prove different results na po pwedeng separate yung quanti mo at separate yung qualitative mo. Kaso sa nakikita ko kasi Miss Pitlo, parang napakalawak na nung quantitative mo. Kasi hinahanap ko na yung hypothesis mo eh. Kasi lalo na naman, nabanggit mo na mayroon kang t-test, ANOVA, chi-square. These are all statistical treatment na ginagamit sa pag-identify if there is a significant relationship between your variables. Kunyari, 'di ba sa impact, meron bang significant difference? Kasi po pwede mo kasing gawin doon yung pre and after pre-test tsaka after-test. Parang comparative study. Parang ipoprove mo dun sa chi-square or ANOVA man or t-test na gagamitin mo kung nagko-connect yung result ng pre kasi yung impact nila mini-measure mo. Kunyari, impact bago sila graduate. Tapos ano na yung impact nun after silang graduate. So pwede mo kasing gawing comparative yun eh. So, kaya nakikita ko, wow, parang napakalawak na nun, Miss Pitlo. Napakalawak na. It can stand alone na dun sa study mo eh. Lalo na pag quantitative yung approach mo. So kasi ang lawak na nun, yung impact na lang. Ang daming possible impact na pwede mong ma-identify out of your study na pwede mong pagbanggain before and after. Kasi comparative siya eh. Parang something like that. So doon ako nag-worry. So another dun sa method mo, yung sampling din. So parang tanong ko sa sarili ko, how will you select participants? Kagaya nung YIP graduate, parents, kasi lahat na identify mo, nag-note pa nga ako, parang napaka-broad noong magiging target respondents mo. So ang inaalala ko doon, paano mo mai-ensure yung representativeness tsaka yung diversity within the community ng different respondents mo at paano sila magmi-meet into one para magkaroon ka ng one specific result. I don't know kung ang plano mo talaga ay individual result. Kunyari, graduate, parents, something like that. Kasi 'di ba ang mini-measure mo din yung impact ng program. So pwede kasi magkakaiba yung result nila kasi parang diverse kasi yung konsepto ng respondents mo. So kaya medyo dun ako nagwo-worry. So I don't know if you can just confine it within one selected sampling can do. So depende na siguro kay Doc Myra kung paano niya lalaruin yung para magkaroon ka lang ng specific kasi medyo broad yun kung titingnan natin lalo na kung gagamitan mo ng comparative study. Now, another dun sa method mo, yung recall of bias. Isa yan sa kinoconsider ko. Kaya tanong ko sa sarili ko, since you are asking alumni about past experiences, how will you address possible inaccuracies in their recollections? Kasi posible kasing hindi ganun ka. Although na sa method naman ng research, kinoconsider ang recollection as a perfect method na. Pero hindi pa kasi siya accurate eh. It depends upon the way they recall their past experiences. Okay? So, depende pa yon sa recollection nila. Kaya ang wino-worry ko doon, yung biases na po pwedeng ma-generate dun sa study mo. Then another thing, yung indicators of change. What specific indicators or metrics or tawag doon or rubrics will you use to measure educational attainment? Lalo na yung leadership capability nila, saka yung community engagement. I don't know kung yung table na yun, para dun ba yun, Miss Pitlo, yung
Yes.
ginamit mong area? Ito na yun? yung gagawin mong matrix for or rubrics for measuring educational attainment, leadership capacity, tsaka yung community engagement.
Kasi po ano, according dun sa kontak ko po dun, yun nga, gusto nila pong ma-measure yung kumbaga anong impact dun sa alumni. Tapos napag-usapan din po namin at least kasi sabi ko kung mag-i-study ako magiging long term ano na yan, parang yung timeline.
Yeah,
Ninote up ko din po yan sa kanya. Tapos parang napag-agrahan namin, what if simula lang yung mga graduates ng 2020 to
exactly.
2025 at least.
So that's what I'm
I-think
looking for,
natin.
na sana meron kang designated frame for that para lang malimit yung study mo kasi napaka-broad niya. Kaya 'di ba yung tanong ko sa iyo kanina, pwede siya mag-differ depende dun sa graduate kasi iba yung perception ng ah, latest graduate kumpara mo dun sa mga graduate na marami nang na-prove na parang advantages dun sa program. So magkakaroon siya ng parang discrepancy dun sa magiging study mo.
Opo.
Now, since marami kang nabanggit na method, I would suggest if you can consider triangulation. Okay, ang tanong lang doon, how will you validate yung findings mo across different methods like surveys, interviews, and observations? Kasi lahat yung binanggit mo sa study mo. So, pwede ka kasi magkaroon ng triangulations na doon. Kasi i-validate mo yung facts mo based on the different methods that you use. Kunyari, survey. Para ma-validate yung result ng survey, pwede ka pang mag-interview. Tapos para ma-validate naman yung interview, pwede mo siyang gawan pa ng observations. Kasi nabanggit mo din kasi yung observation, kasi live experiences eh. I don't know kung papasok doon yung phenomenological or ethnography, I don't know. So depende siguro sa magiging advice sa nung ni Doc Myra kung paano siya gagana. Now, nag-worry din ako, Miss Pitlo, dun sa theoretical analytical framework mo. Parang hindi ko siya nakikitaan kasi pag gumamit ka kasi ng lens, another result yon. Kung paano mo ginamit yung lens mo o yung theory mo dun sa study mo. Kasi yung theoretical framework as a lens, pwede na kasi siyang one study na naman. Kaya hindi ko lang ma-reconcile yung thought kung ano ang magiging role nung theoretical framework mo dun sa study mo. Lalo na yung Ibrahim theory of change. How will that framework be adapted to fit the specific cultural or yung nabanggit mo na socioeconomic realities ng mga IP communities or indigenous communities sa Bukidnon. Okay? So pwede rin maglaro kasi dun yung causality versus correlation. How will you determine yung observed changes kung may direct ba silang attribution dun sa YIP programs and not to other external influences like kasi di ba nabanggit mo doon na for policy making like government policies, NGO initiative ba siya or personal circumstances. So magbabari siya doon eh. Kasi medyo dun kasi ang wino-worry ko eh, marami siyang variables na nabanggit ka. So pwede kasi magkaroon ng interplay of cultural values. Ang tanong doon, will your analysis incorporate indigenous knowledge systems or yung community-defined measures of success? I don't know. Kung yun talaga yung impact na gusto mong makuha. Yung community-defined measures of success. Parang gusto mong makita yung impact ng program dun sa mga indigenous people na bumalik na sa kanilang respective communities. Okay? So yun ang tinitingnan ko. So pero suggestion ko, if you can remove it will not affect directly your study. Kasi parang hindi ko nakitaan ng role yung ginagamit mong framework dun sa study. Kasi pag gumamit ka kasi ng framework, ipoprove mo na naman yan sa study mo. Kung paano mo siya ginamit, yung proseso, kung paano mo inoperationalize yung mga different components noong framework, nung study mismo.
So
Okay?
best po pala talaga sir, grounded theory na lang talaga. Kasi talagang base mo na
Oo.
kung ano na lang yung
That's
makukuha mo.
another study. Mawawala ka na dun
Oo,
sa
mawawala ka na.
quantitative mo. Magiging
Ano
qualitative ka na
magiging
kasi
quality ng apoy?
yeah, grounded
Oo.
theory ang gagamitin mo. Pag sinabi kasing grounded theory,
Ano?
mag-generate ka ng sarili mong theory out of the theory that you used. Parang ganun ang definition ng grounded theory. Parang gumamit ka ng teorya para makapag-identify ka ng another theory na po pwedeng magamit as framework ng pag-aaral ng impact ng program.
Mm.
Parang ganun yon. Now, ang ah, nagwo-worry din ako dun sa ethical and cultural considerations na gagawin mo. Gaya ng informed consent. How will you ensure culturally appropriate consent processes for indigenous participant, particularly dun sa mga minors or elders kung meron man na matatouch ka dun sa study. Okay. Sa another ethical dun yung community benefit. So, kung example, kung beyond publication, how will the results be communicated back to the communities? Kasi 'di ba yung pinaka-intention mo ng program ay ng study mo para ma-prove mo na yung program okay talaga or not okay kasi depende yun sa magiging result ng impact. So, ang tanong ko dun, paano mo i-disseminate yun or i-communicate back dun sa community para maging accessible yung result ng study mo. Then, ang pinaka-worry ko dito yung sensitivity to power dynamics na tinatawag. How will you mitigate any possible influence of your role as a researcher or practitioner of this specific topic? Lalo na dun sa willingness ng mga participant mo to speak openly. Kasi nga, ang minimeasure mo dito impact. Baka, syempre, recorded to, baka magkaroon sila idea na masisira yung program, hindi na lang ako magsasalita. Posible yon. Kaya pwede maapektuhan dun yung result. Kasi syempre kahit ako nag-benefit ako sa program, kahit meron akong nakita, ililimit ko sarili ko. So, as a researcher, paano mo siya gagawin? Na para meron silang willingness to speak openly, especially if they feel indebted to the program. So, isa yan na dapat mo
Tanggal po
i-consider
yung
dun sa
bias.
study mo. Correct. Tapos, ano pa ba? Yun nga, yung hypothesis dapat meron ka kasi nga quantitative at gagamit ka ng t-test, ANOVA, or chi-square. Pero kahit isa lang dito, Miss Pitlo, parang inubos mo yata yung
Actually, sir.
yung lahat ng klase ng statistical
Analysis.
treatment na ginagamit. Pero I don't know, pero ako, I would recommend t-test or ANOVA. It depends upon you kung paano mo siya gagamitin dun sa study mo. Kaso ang problema nito, kukuha ka ng statistician nito.
Okay lang po, sir.
That unless if you know how to interpret it. Kasi ako, pag nagka-quantitative ako, kumukuha talaga ako ng statistician. May kamahalan sila. Pero since need siya ng study, ginagawa ko.
Because nga po,
Nag-interpret lang nung datang ginather ko.
yes, sir. Meron naman po akong matatap. Although, ayun nga po, dahil nga po dito sa study, recently nag-undergo again ako, parang some sort of review lang ng, yun nga, yung statistical analysis, quanti-quali. So sabi ko, pero kung kinakailangan ko po talaga kumuha ng statistician, because of the training institute po, yun,
Yeah, mas
makakana po ako.
accurate kasi sila eh.
Opo.
Kasi sila ang magpo-prove kung alternate yung magiging hypothesis mo or null hypothesis, di ba? Kasi sila yung mag-interpret nun eh. Diba? If there's no significance or if there's significant relationship between two variables.
Yes, sir.
Kunyari yung impact, di ba? Mini-measure mo impact. Kung may significant relationship yung mga different, yung impact nun mismo dun sa respondents. Depende dun sa ma-identify mo na variables. Now, so in general, medyo ang lawak. So I don't know if paano mo siya lalaruin, pero kung gusto mo talagang mag-mix method, ang ang kailangan mo lang talaga ma-connect. Kasi dapat connected yung results ng quali mo dun sa quanti. Not unless if you want to generate two separate results from your quantitative and qualitative. Pero sa nakikita ko ang hirap. Kasi thematic analysis yung use mo dun sa quali, pagdating sa quanti is hypothetical ka kasi 'di ba magbi-measure ka ng impact. Kasi 'di ba lalagyan yun ng numerical variables. Kunyari 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Kasi i-convert mo kasi yun yung mga variables mo into numerical thing. Kunyari less impact, ganon. No impact, less impact, tapos neutral, uh, high impact or something like that. Pero dapat i-define mo yung pagkakaiba. Paano mo in-operationalize yung effectiveness tsaka impact. Kasi in my own opinion, they are two distinct words. Hindi sila magkahawig. Okay? So, yun lang yung aking observation or
Thank you, sir.
recommendation suggestions dun sa iyong study. Thank you very much, Miss Peter.
Thank you, Doc Benny, no? Actually, ang ganda nung mga observations ni Sir Benny which we will be considering. So, sinummarize ko siya. Actually, ang point nito is malaki yung
Ang lawak.
coverage. Nakita ko siya, pero ang maganda dito, Sir Benny, nakita ko na pinakita niya ano-ano yung mga pwede niyang pag-aralan. Tapos
Correct,
pwede
correct.
tayong kumuha from there. So siguro merong just for you, for your reference lang. So we will be having another meeting siguro to discuss this. Pero meron akong nakitang apat dun sa sinabi ni Sir Benny. Number one, yung limitations or coverage both nung research area mo and yung mga variables. So parang do we get all of it? Tingnan natin kung anong kakayanan ni Louie, ano, kasi talagang makikita mo dito sa kanyang present yung kanyang anong tawag dito, passion talaga niya to eh. So this is ano niya eh, volunteer work niya eh. So tinanong ko nga siya before na ano, kasi nakita ko actually iba pa yung topic niya before, pero nakita ko ang dami pa palang pwede. Actually, paano pa to, parang isa lang ito dun sa apat. Parang ganon. So imagine kung ano talaga ang dami-dami niyang gustong i-contribute. So number two is yung methodology. Do we settle for the qualitative? So magdidepende din ito how we limit yung research area natin. So dun magbi-base yung ating mga approaches. Will it be qualitative lang or quantitative lang or both? So yun yung isa sa mga ano din natin. And then number three is, ito yung nakita ko na ito rin yung isa sa mga ni-note ko dito, yung sa mga consents. Kailangan, although parang wala naman akong masyadong fear dito kasi you're dealing with an organization na I think alam na nila kung paano yung mga ganitong mga permissions na kinukuha from mga IPs, ano, but just to make sure kasi ang gagawin mo is yung research. And then maganda yung isang na-contribute dito ni Sir Benny, yung sinabi niya na how will the community benefit? So is siguro ito yung isang idadagdag natin kung ano man yung makita natin na benefit for the community, ilalagay natin doon sa paper natin. And then ito maganda rin yung ikaapat, yung how the results of the study will be communicated back to the community. So yun siguro yung isasama din natin doon sa ating doon sa paper mo. Ayan. So thank you po. And then may we have Ma'am Meg for your comments.
Oo. Hi, Miss Pitlo, no? I would just like to commend you kasi kitang-kita naman talaga yung passion mo. Sa sobrang passionate mo, parang gusto mo na lahat ng problema or lahat na lang ng anggulo ng study, ano, gusto mo nung mapag-aralan. Oo. Siguro sususugan ko lang yung sinabi ni Sir Benny in terms of impact, ano. How do you define impact? Is this short-term effect, long-term effect? I think you just need to really define this, no? Kasi when you say impact, from which point of view are you using, no? Siguro yon number one. And then also, you mentioned doon sa iyong mixed method that you're going to be using mixed method, ano? And I noticed doon sa iyong number of participants, 50. I was wondering why it was 50, ano? Ano yung ginamit mo? Usually kasi 'di ba pag magko-quantitative ka, there's a large number of the population and then you'll just get a sample of that population. I was wondering how you got saan mo kinuha yung 50? Oo. And
Kasi po,
then, oo, sige lang.
kasi yun nga, yung kausap ko po yung kontak ko, sabi niya, what if yung most recent from let's say 2020 to 2025, matatap pa natin sila, mababalikan pa natin yung mga alumni, yung mga parents, ganyan. Tsaka most recent, yung kumbaga maaalala pa nila. So sabi namin, what if parang some sort of purposive, pero at least let's target like 10 alumni per year. So kaya parang tin-target, parang yun, naisip namin, sige, ito, what if, sige, i-propose ko na lang dun sa, panel ko, kung okay sa kanila or hindi. So, yun po muna yung, yun yung,
Oo, siguro.
pinanggalingan.
I think once you tighten kung ano ba talaga yung gusto mong lens, no? Kung ano yung gusto mong mapag-aralan, I think it will all fall into place. Ano naman, depende na yan sa pag-uusap nyo ng iyong depende yan ng iyong advisor. Ano ba talaga yung gusto mong pag-aralan? Wag mong iano yung problema ng lahat ng yun yung naaalala ko nung nag-MS ako, no. Meg, ang dapat mong pag-aralan, bite size lang. Wag mong ianohin yung buong pizza, kainin yung buong pizza kumbaga. Kahit isang slice lang kasi it will take you a lot of time also. And then it will take a toll on you also. So I think you need to find your center. Ano ba talaga yung gusto mong mapag-aralan, ano? Kasi if you know, pag yun nakuha mo na, it will all fall into place. Yung iba dyan, as suggested may by Doc Benny, baka yung iba dyan hindi mo na naman talaga kailangan na mga terms or other mga theories, baka mamaya hindi mo naman talaga kailangan sa study mo. So it will just muddle up your study, no? So I think you need to find your center. Ano ba talaga yung gusto mong mapag-aralan? And it will depend kung yung pag-uusap nyo ng advisor mo. Yun, I think madami nang na-mention si Sir Benny na na talagang napag-anuhan natin. Ang dami ko rin natutunan, Sir Benny, actually. At marami rin akong na-pick up doon sa kanyang mga discussion. So, I think I would like to commend you hindi madali itong ginawa mong hindi madali itong ginawa mong proposal. So, I would like to commend you on that. And yun lang. And I think you're in good hands naman with Ma'am Myra. So don't worry. Oo, you're in good hands. Doc Benny?
Yeah, ang kagandahan siguro Ma'am Meg dito kung talagang capable siya to do this kind of study kasi hindi naman natin pwedeng hadlangan siya.
Yes,
Ang kagandahan nito pag nagawa mo talaga itong proposal mo, makaka-generate ka ng maraming mga
yes,
different study out of your one
correct,
study na pwede mong i-publish. Yun ang
correct.
kagandahan lang nun.
Para
Oh,
maging
Gawa mo
Yes.
siya lahat.
Ay, sir, paano
oo.
po yan? Kasi yun nga, yung kausap ko yung kontak ko dun sa Cartwheels po. Sila actually yung nag-propose yung kay Alnur Ibrahim, yung social, yung measuring the social impact. Kasi pinaaral nila sa akin. Kasi sinabi nila, nung nag-undergo daw sila ng training, although hindi daw ganong kalalim yung naintindihan nila,
Okay,
kung magagawa ko ng MNE, baka daw po,
correct.
yun yung applicable.
Ito na lang ang gawin mo. Kung yun talaga yung sinuggest sa'yo, Miss Pitlo,
Opo.
hayaan mo munang umusad yung result. Tapos para ma-validate yung result, pwede mong ibangga dun sa theory. So
Theory.
that's another study. Kasi gagamitin mo na lang yung theory for validation purposes. Kunyari, naka-generate ka na ng result.
Opo.
Tapos pwede mo pang i-counter-check yon based dun sa related literature mo, which is actually the framework na gusto mong gamitin, pero validation purposes siya. Pero kung titingnan mo, parang out of context na siya, not unless kung gusto mo lang siyang i-validate. Kaya nga di mo nag-suggest ako sa iyo na
Opo.
triangulation ang pwede mong gawin. Pwede mong isingit yung theory doon na parang another method na gagamit ka ng isang theory to validate the result.
Yeah.
Pwede
Pero
rin.
you have to consider also, Miss Pitlo, your time, yung time frame mo.
Yeah. Kung
Oo.
gusto mo
Yeah.
talagang graduate, huwag mong pahirapan na sarili mo. Pero ang
Parang gusto
ganda, ang
parang
ganda ng
gusto pa
study
niya,
mo.
oo. Yeah. At
Pero
saka
maganda.
nakita ko dito, Sir Benny and Ma'am Meg, hindi katulad nung iba na parang mahihirapan tayo dahil kulang na kulang,
Kulang.
di
Yes,
ba?
ito
Ito
naman
Ito ay
totoo.
sobrang-sobra.
papaano,
Nanganak
Mas
ng
oo,
madali mong
papaano niya,
mag-downsize. Yeah,
yes,
mas madali
oo.
mag-downsize.
Yes, so siguro eto mas madali itong gagawin niya kasi pipili lang siya kung ano talaga yung
Exactly,
gusto niyang
magbabawas.
You just need to
i-study.
find
So,
what yeah.
okay. So siguro
Pero
yun
malay
yung
mo, Doc
parang
Myra, baka capable naman siya. Ang ganda,
yeah, so
gawin
Baka
mo.
hindi ko po matapos.
so yun yung so yun yung ibibigay kong assignment kay
Sige
Louie.
po.
So think about this and then eto nga yung mga feedback namin. So basically, this is okay with us if you will be limiting. So yun yung number one, yung limitations and coverage ng research topic. Actually, hindi naman siya masasayang if ever na hindi mo magagamit yung iba,
Exactly.
pwede mong gawin later on. Like,
Later
kung gusto
on.
mong mag-decom later,
Exactly. Ituloy mo na lang doon.
Diretso mo na
yeah,
siya.
Oo, idiretso mo
yeah,
na siya doon.
maybe maggawa ka ng ibang research papers for publication. So this will not be
Yeah.
wasted. So etong effort mo na to ay hindi naman wasted even
No, it's
hindi
not.
natin magagamit lahat. So yun yung pag-iisipan mo if you're gonna limit or medyo i-cut down natin yung coverage ng research topics. And then so syempre from there maggagawa ka ng revision din on the methodology. And then yung isang suggestion ni Ma'am Meg yung sa population, kung depende kung ano nga yung magiging decision mo, ano yung parang consideration mo on the population. So magbabago yan kung ano yung magiging methodology mo. And then yung theoretical framework, tingnan mo din kung ano yung makikita natin na dapat dito for kung ano yung study. Yun yung mahirap sa atin, hindi natin ma-identify pa. But it's up to you, Allen. Mabilis mag-work to si Louie, mabilis siya mag-work. So, I'm expecting na maybe a week or two mabibigay na nito sa atin. And then, yung methodology din, of course, so it will be based on the coverage nung sa research topic. And then, yung definition mo ng impact, kung yung impact yung gusto mong gawin or yung meron kang ibang yung mismong program ba or yung impact nito dun sa mga tao. So, yun yung i-define. And then, yung sa cultural consent, community benefit, and how the results of this study will be communicated back. So, basically, yun yung kailangan mo for this. So, wala ka namang kulang. Sobra yung mo. So, for this, I would like also to commend you, maganda yung mga inilatag mo sa amin at ang mangyayari nga is pipili ka lang ng isa or dalawa or lahat. So, just give us the updated version of your proposal, but for me, this is okay. Okay sa akin.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank
may
you.
So may I ask Sir Benny and Ma'am Meg if the proposal is okay din po?
Yeah, sa akin okay na okay yung proposal mo. Sumobra siya sa
Nasobra.
kailangan.
Sobra sa kailangan.
Oo.
Ayan.
Kailangan
Ma'am Meg?
mabawasan. Oo. Ako,
Yes, Ma'am
okay lang
Meg?
din. Oo. For me, the proposal is okay naman po sa akin. Yun, kailangan lang just to, find your center. Hanapin mo lang yung
Yes.
gusto mong gawin. Oo.
Okay. So siguro Marilu, may question ka ba sa amin?
Wala naman po. Sobrang klaro naman po. Tsaka sobrang grateful ako kasi yun talagang ma-firm up ko na talaga siya.
Yes.
Kasi medyo kinabahan nga din ako. Sabi ko, parang hindi ko yata matatapos to ngayon.
True.
Pero may
Actually,
dami.
kino-consider actually namin yun kapag kami sa mga advices namin, like yung connection mo with, kung halimbawa, merong isang institution, kung gaano ka-accessible sa iyo yung data. So, kino-consider namin yun. Kino-consider din namin yung time na kailangan mo nang mag-graduate. So, syempre, as much as we want you to be around for a long time, we want you to be on that stage para sa graduation. So yun, so kung wala nang question tayo, I would like to thank everyone, Sir Benny, Ma'am Meg, and then Louie, just give us the revised version of what you intend to do. So, and also to Jel, thank you. And kung may kailangang requirements pa, just message si Jel kung anong kailangan pa.
Sige,
Okay,
thank you,
so thank you very much,
Yeah, thank you very
everyone. Thank you
much.
po.
Oh,
Have a nice day
Congratulations,
po.
Thank you.
Photo po,
Congratulations
ma'am.
for your proposal. Photo pala, photo.
Okay. Sige po. Let's take a photo. 3, 2, 1. Smile po. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Thank you,
very much.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye po.